Joining us now is Joe Donnelly, former U.S. ambassador to the Holy See under President Biden. Good morning to you on this day of mourning for the Catholic faithful around the world and those of the Christian faith. The Pope, I know, is someone who folks look to as a faithful shepherd and also as an advisor. How did that influence the White House and American politics?
We had an extraordinarily good relationship with the Holy Father. The Holy Father was focused on taking care of the poorest of the poor, the marginalized. We worked together on those kind of things, on programs to try to help those in need. We worked together on Ukraine, on Gaza. And so it was a full-on relationship. And the Holy Father was engaged on a constant basis. He worked 7 days a week. He would work from 6 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night, and was an example to everyone around him of the love of Jesus Christ.
As I mentioned, he had more liberal views, a noticeable break from his conservative predecessors. How will that be part of his legacy and in the church moving forward?
Well, I wouldn't call him liberal views. I would say that he was focused on the poor and the marginalized, and tried to reach out to those who were struggling. And so, as he said it, he saw the church as a field hospital rather than a rule book. And I think that's how he served in his papacy.
Talk about the visit in 2015 before a joint session of Congress, the unity that he spoke of and what that meant to see him in Washington, D.C. in that moment.
Sure, I was there as a senator from Indiana, and it was incredibly moving to see the Holy Father there. He was obviously well loved. People were thrilled to be there. And the message he wanted to send after being at the place that's in so many ways the apex of power was he got in his little Fiat 500 and headed over to the food pantry to help distribute food to those in need. And so that's a reflection of Pope Francis, that he dealt at the highest levels of power and looked after the most powerless.
Faith is such an important component of so many of our world leaders. Talk about the impact and the presence of the Pope on global issues and for presidents who are in his presence and have the opportunity to converse with him.
Well, sure. He spoke with maybe the biggest megaphone in the world, that to the smallest villages in Africa, to the most remote places in the Arctic, everybody heard the Pope's voice. And that was part of our mission at the embassy, was to make sure that the Pope understood the United States' views on various issues. But he was about and taking care of his flock. And so when you talk to him, his view was always, how does this make life better for every one of us? And as I said, he was very, very kind, was incredibly focused on social justice, but was also a good manager. He was the kindest person in the world, but you better have your books in order at the Vatican. And so he also ran the shop very well.
A good shepherd of the Lord's message and of the gospel. Joe Donnelly, thank you so much for your time this morning as we remember the Pope.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.